This is our first streamed event from the office. So you'll see me looking over at our tech crew here at the table as we work through this first experience. Are we going to be able to see the other view for now or no? I'm looking at Cassie and Brandon. We've got Cassie and Brandon behind the scenes. Sierra here next to me. We'll introduce her in just a few minutes. And I think we'll just get started. Do we have people online, Cassie? Okay. All right. So good evening. Welcome to your Law Enforcement Family Network Regional Meetup. This is going to be a pretty special evening in our opinion. Sierra is here. She's going to talk about her brand new program, Warrior Club, which is all about wellness for individuals in general. And she has tailored that program for our law enforcement officers and their families. Before we get into Sierra's presentation, just want to share a little bit about us. I'm Meg DiBucci. I'm the Programs and Services Director here at the Foundation. In the room, behind the scenes, we've also got Cassie Bartholomew, who many of you probably have seen advertising this event and others. She's our program specialist for law enforcement and family support. And we've got Brandon Schmidt, who's our community engagement specialist over here. He's also got some headphones on doing some tech work. And back in the corner with the door closed where we've put him, locked him away in an office, is our executive director, Brian Johnston, who is also participating in this event tonight. This is our second or third year of our Family Network regional meetups. And this program was begun as a part of a way to get our families together, meeting in person and networking and building relationships with one another so that you can support one another in good times and when hard times strike. We hope that you are out there connecting with each other. And if you're not, please connect with us through the chat, ask questions, provide insight and comments, introduce yourself. Sierra's going to have a little bit of audience participation that she'll do through the chat. So if you can engage with that, that'll help us to get to know each other and build some connections that way. My connection to Sierra and how we got this started. Sierra had an idea and a dream to put a program together, and I'm gonna let her tell that story a little bit, but she reached out to the foundation, and her and I sat and had coffee for a couple of hours as she outlined this program and this idea, and really was excited to run with it. It was a really good conversation.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like it happened. It was a long time in the making.
Yes.
And really launched, I think, a thing for Sierra and hopefully a partnership with the foundation here that will benefit our law enforcement families across the state. So as many of you may know, I'm retired from the Everett Police Department after 27 years. And so Sierra and her story has a very personal touch and connection for me with why she is doing this. And it's really special to me that you're here and that we're developing this relationship and the power behind what you're creating and why you're creating it really has hit me really deeply. And I think that it's going to speak to a lot of our families out there as well when they hear the story behind it and the passion behind it. So with no further ado, I think I'm going to let you get started. Right. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, really. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Really inspirational for me to help move my program forward.
Yeah, great. All right.
Thank you so much.
Let you get started.
All right. Hi, everybody. Like Meg said, my name is Sierra Rediger. I really want to thank Meg and Cassie for helping me to make this program a reality and bring this to you right now. It is really a dream come true. I'm going to get started here with the presentation here. And we'll see if we can get this up on the screen. So I like to call this Operation Health. And my program is called Warrior Club. And our motto is fighting for our lives. And it'll become clear as we go along why this is our motto. But I'll let you think about that as we get started here. All right. So I like to start with a little bit of audience participation. It's a little bit challenging when we're doing a live stream, but to the best of our abilities, let us know who you are. Wow, we're gonna have some spoonerisms in here, I'm sorry. We're gonna put the last thing first and the first thing last. But let us know in the chat who you are. Are you a law enforcement officer? Are you an admin? Are you support? Are you a friend or family? Are you a friend or family of mine? If so, hi guys. So I'm going to tell you the story about Warrior Club and why it was created. So I'm going to read this directly because I get a little wobbly when I talk about this. But Warrior Club was created to honor my sister, Sunny Taylor. Sunny worked her entire career with the Everett Police Department until she lost her battle with PTSD in 2020. Warrior Club started out as a vow at her funeral. 5 years later, here we are. Warrior Club is now a full program specifically designed to help officers have more control over the impact that policing has on their minds and bodies. So as a health educator, I'm a nurse, I'm a yoga therapist, I'm a mom, also a Muay Thai practitioner. So I do a lot of things to integrate mind and body. And as law enforcement family member, I really wanted to bring something to the whole world of policing, because I feel like I have tools that I can share with you that can help make this whole process a little bit more bearable. I have 2 additional family members in law enforcement that I'd like to say hi to. My brother-in-law, Jay, he works for the Everett Police Department, and my sister, Kit, is an agent with the ATF. Move forward here. All right, so my program is all about empowering people. And as I've been creating and crafting Warrior Club over the last 5 years, public awareness of science and health-related education has really exploded. There's Drs. Peter Attia, Andrew Huberman, and Rhonda Patrick have done amazing work to make health science more accessible to the average person. If you know who these people are, then you're already part of Warrior Club, because the stuff that they talk about is the stuff that we talk about. It is actionable stuff. Please check out their websites, check out their books. They'll be linked in the chat or in the description below the video. These 3 individuals here are empowering people to take control of their health by educating the public how our minds and bodies work and how we can best support ourselves. I like to say healthcare is literally in our hands. We have a tool that we carry around with us every day that can help us monitor and manage our health. The development of wearables has changed the way we monitor health. You guys now have the tools that I have as a nurse. So I'm going to be able to teach you guys how to use that information in a way that is going to affect you in a positive way. Instead of generic information that's designed for the general population, I've designed Warrior Club specifically for law enforcement and shift workers. So if you're like me in medicine, working night shift, it's really hard on the body. But how do we monitor the effect of this? We can do this with wearables. We use all types of devices, Apple Watch, Oura Rings, Fitbits, and continuous glucose monitors. I've got mine here right now. So the thing is, if you can measure it, you can manage it. That's another goal and another motto of Warrior Club. Now, here's my next question for you. Are you a race car?
Yes.
I like to ask this question because for most people I work with, the answer is yes. You like to run hot, fast, minimal downtime. Just keep it going, right? Coffee and go. The challenge is that many drivers are so focused on the race and staying on the road that they forget stuff like, oh, I got to get fuel and I need some tires, and I'll just put that off the side. Make regular pit stops, right? We need regular pit stops, but to be the best possible racers and to win our races. And we all know that the best racers are supported and supplied by an amazing team. Speaking of which, hi there, family members. This is the family network, right? So I'd like to acknowledge all the pit crew members out there in the audience, those of you that support officers, those people like Cassie right there. Those of you on the sidelines, you are absolutely essential for keeping these officers on the road. All right, so I'm going to shift back to it. So here we go. Good pit crew, essential for keep us racing. All right, so back to it. The mind is the body is the mind. So science has finally caught up to what the ancients knew like 5,000 years ago. The mind is the body is the mind. And it's our relationships, our connection to tribe, that what keeps us safe and sane. This is why your pit crew is essential, both on the track and off the track. All right, another question for the audience here. And you can throw your answer into the chat or just think about it. But when do you refill anything? Your portable, your duty radio, your phone batteries, your gas tank in your rig? Are you a less than 50% fill it up person? Are you a less than 25, get around to it pretty soon person? Maybe you're a less than 10%. Yeah, need to do that eventually. Or are you one of the, I'm on E, I think I can go about 80 miles, maybe, no, 50. Well, I'm good. I'll make it home.
That sounds terrible.
It sounds terrible, but possibly sounds familiar. I don't know. So compare this to your personal life, and you do not have to answer this question. You don't have to put it in the chat, but I am going to invite you to think about this over the next week or so. When do you fill up your gas tank? Take a look at that gauge. What do you think? What about your cell phone? What point does it have to hit before you plug it back in? What about your stomach? When do you put good quality food in your stomach? What about your relationships? Quality time. It's all investment. It's all refill. When do you do that? So just something to think about. So let's move now from talking about batteries and our personal internal sources of energy and talk about the mind metabolism connection. And I'd like to reintroduce you, possibly, or maybe it's introduce you to mitochondria. Some of you may remember this from high school biology, perhaps. It's the powerhouse of the cell. And I'm just going to read this to you. Mitochondria produce ATP, adenosine triphosphate, supplying the energy essential for cellular function, repair, and regeneration. And there's one word here that I want you to try to remember. The word is adenosine, because we'll talk about that a little bit later. So I'd like adenosine, yes, think about that. All right, so I'd like to take a step back here briefly and talk about this idea again of the mind is the body is the mind. And in her book, Good Energy, another resource, highly recommend that you read it. We refer to it frequently in Warrior Club. Functional medicine specialist Casey Means describes how this works, how the mind controls metabolism. Because our cells hear what we're thinking through hormones and other signaling molecules triggered by the brain. And everybody, you've all experienced this. If your thoughts give your body a sense of threat, say, there's a bear. Anxiety, worry, fear, trauma. Guess what? Sends a whole bunch of things called catecholamines, a big old dump into your system. These are messages that are sent from your brain to your body. And it can impair metabolism because running from the bear is usually a little bit more important than digesting your food at that moment. Just saying, it's kind of one of those cavemen thing, survival of the fittest and all that. So we can rest and digest later, but here's the question for the modern man. or woman, human, how about that? What if later never comes? What if we are constantly bombarded by messages of threat? Boom, 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 boom. We get cell phone messages. This is happening in Gaza. This is happening in the Ukraine. This is happening here, everywhere, all these places. When do we turn off? So, as many of you know, hypervigilance is a defining characteristic of PTSD. And there's a link here. So in other words, if the proverbial accelerator is stuck to the floor and we can't get our foot off the gas, bad things will happen. It's just a matter of time. So Dr. Chris Palmer, he's a psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School who specializes in treating untreatable psychiatric patients, has linked mental health disorders to mitochondrial dysfunction. He says traumatic stress can lead to mitochondrial dysfunction in different areas of the brain, which contributes to the various symptoms of PTSD. What's super interesting is that, like many other mental health issues that he has studied, PTSD responds to treatments that improve PTSD responds to treatments that improve overall mitochondrial function. But before we talk about treatments, I know you guys want to jump ahead and be like, oh, yes, what do? We first need to talk about the causes of mitochondrial dysfunction. So I'm going back to Casey Means because she has a fantastic list of the top 10 causes of mitochondrial dysfunction. And these are going to jump out at you all at once because it just seemed more efficient. I've highlighted number 5, as you'll notice, chronic stress. And this is because it's the number one unavoidable thing for law enforcement. It's a super stressful job. There's just no doubt about it. You cannot avoid stress as a police officer. You just can't. But the same can be said for medicine. Medicine is also extremely stressful. Nurses, doctors, respiratory therapists, anybody in acute care, especially anybody who's working shift work, is also going to be experiencing chronic stress just by the nature of the environment that they're working in. Now, speaking of trauma, the Los Angeles Department Behavioral Science Services Division says that the average police officer will be exposed to 178 critical incidents over a 30-year career. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, way more than that, or I don't think it's that much. So, people are going to argue with these numbers, and I'll just say, you just go talk to the Los Angeles Police Department about that. And they say, of course, depending on the department, this number can estimated to be as high as 800 and possibly even more depending on where you work. By comparison, though, think about this. The average citizen might be exposed to 3 or fewer critical incidents in their entire life. For most people, it can be 30 years, right? Now, if you do the math on that, that's roughly 6 critical incidences per year. 6 incidences per year, which breaks down to 1 every couple of months over a 30-year career. Meg was like, oh yeah, that sounds perfectly normal.
That's easy.
That's easy math. Sure, that happens all the time. No big deal. That's the job. But again, it's chronic stress. If you're being exposed to something that the average person only experiences 3 times in their entire life, it's probably the most traumatizing moments of their life, and they talk about it 30 years later, and you're experiencing that every couple of months, it should give some perspective. I mean, that's pretty heavy. All right, so back to Dr. Casey Means' list here. So there's a couple of other things that I've highlighted. Sleep deprivation is another largely unavoidable issue here for officers. But there's also exposure to artificial light, circadian rhythm disruption, all of which are part of shift work. All right, thankfully, the admin has finally caught on to the fact that fatigue is a big issue. So we need to continue to move these buzzwords forward. I've talked to people are a representative from Canada representing the RCMP up there. This is just as big of an issue up in Canada. Officer fatigue, and it's particularly concerning for night shift officers. There is an article that was published in the 2025 Police Chief magazine here in the Officer Safety Corner that reports more than 90% of officers are fatigued a majority of the time. And this is not news to you guys. I know you guys know this stuff. It's just reinforcing the fact that you guys are being challenged metabolically just by the nature of the work you do. Okay. All right, so I'm going to ask for a little bit more audience participation again. So remember when I asked you to remember that word adenosine? I'm going to ask you about sleep, because adenosine is a critical part of sleep. So how much sleep did you get last night? So think about that number of hours, hopefully not number of minutes, but number of hours. And then add that to how much sleep did you get the night before? Add that up and hold that in your mind. We'll come back to it. So science says that you have 16 hours of good brain function, because every hour that you're awake, adenosine, remember that word, adenosine builds up, binds to adenosine receptors, and then inhibits alert promoting brain regions. So it slowly increases over the day. I have a graph here. We have blue dots and yellow dots. So the blue dots, make sure I'm saying the right thing here. Just tricked myself. I went forward one page too far. Okay, so the blue dots are your adenosine, and the yellow dots are your circadian rhythm. And for those of you who aren't familiar with circadian rhythm, that's your natural wake up and go to sleep cycle. So we have hormones in our bodies that ramp up when we're active, and then they ramp back down as we're ready for sleep. So you can see in the graph here. And fun little fact about adenosine before I forget to tell you about this. So the molecule adenosine and the molecule caffeine have a very similar shape. Meg's going, really? This is interesting. So when you drink caffeine, yes, I will tell you more. So when you drink caffeine, it temporarily bumps some of the adenosine off of those sleepy receptors. Only thing is that the adenosine continues to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, and eventually it just overwhelms the caffeine if you're super, super, super tired. But then also your body is breaking down caffeine. So eventually the adenosine will win. I don't care how strong your coffee is. Anyway, back to the slide. So as you see here, the longer you're awake, the more your adenosine levels build up. And then what happens is your levels will come down when you fall asleep. And then in my sleep lecture, which is week 3, just so you know, week 3 of my program, I like to say that the garbage truck comes, and it worked. I'm so happy. I like to say that the garbage truck comes through and empties the trash cans in your brain. And ideally, this happens, as you can see, in concert with your circadian rhythm. So as you go to sleep, things are settling down in your body. Your body has an opportunity to rest, digest, and repair. So this is where the repairing part of the mitochondria can come in. And so if you end up going to bed 2 or more hours later than your normal time, you miss the garbage truck. And this is why you literally wake up feeling like trash in the morning. It's no joke. I mean, it's like a little pun, but it's really not a joke. So your body doesn't have the opportunity to clean up and do the physical repair that it needs to do. Now, this graph is assuming that you are sleeping for 8 hours, and this is good quality sleep, 8 hours each night. Thus, you'll get roughly 16 hours of good quality cognitive function. So, and then you may notice that there's about a 2-to-1 ratio here. So for every 2 hours of alertness, you'll get you'll get 2 hours of alertness for every 1 hour of good quality sleep. And I'm emphasizing good quality, because if it's not great quality sleep, you're not going to get a full 2 hours of good cognitive function. All right, and I love this next bit here. The reality is, if you want to learn more about sleep, Dr. Stephen James has an excellent presentation about all of this in his Flashlight series. So you guys can go and check out that YouTube video, part of the Law Enforcement Family Network series. But the reality is you really need to think about what sleep did you get last night? I use 7 hours as an example here, and then add that to the night before, maybe 6 hours. So do the math on that. So that your actual cognitive function time is going to be closer to 13 hours. And if you slept less, guess what? Your function time is going to be less. And the other thing is, the sleepier your brain is, it's just like being drunk. The worse your ability is to judge how tired you are. Because literally, the more tired you get, the less inhibited you get, and the worse your judgment is, especially about your own cognitive function. No, I'm fine. I can drive myself home. And you're like, you've been awake 24 hours. Probably not. Meg's good, right? Yeah, sure. I'm fine. Fantastic. Yeah.
Sounds normal.
Sounds normal, of course. All right. But the thing is, we can actually prevent metabolic disease because mitochondrial dysfunction is metabolic disease. Okay? They are one and the same. Metabolic dysfunction is measurable approximately 15 years before diagnosis. And I'm just going to read this a little bit here. So metabolic disease is mitochondrial disease. And since we have mitochondria everywhere in our bodies, metabolic disease can present in several different ways. The most familiar, insulin resistant. You guys might know that is pre-diabetes, right? Okay. Type 2 diabetes, that's full-on metabolic dysfunction. Obesity, cancer, obviously those are other forms of metabolic disease. But for those of you who are male, you may be interested to know that one of the earliest indicators of cardiovascular disease is erectile dysfunction. Just saying. So if you go to the doctor asking for the little blue pill, don't be surprised if your doctor sends you for a treadmill stress test and an EKG before he writes you that prescription. That's early metabolic disease indicators. It's reversible if you catch it early. Just saying.
We like us some reversible.
Right, exactly. We like our reversible issues. All right, so be all end all here is that we can prevent metabolic disease by supporting our mitochondria. And Warrior Club can help do that, help take control. We start out by establishing baseline. Where are you at right now? And then from that, make plans, set goals. And the fun part, implement, experiment, adjust, and you're going to be using wearables. You're going to use your glucose monitor. You're going to use all your tools to figure out, are you being effective? We're not going to be using subjective stuff as much. We're going to rely on numbers because it's really hard to fudge numbers. I can't lie to myself when I'm looking at this and saying, oh, I'm not stressed and my glucose is through the roof. I'm like, okay, I'm stressed. Yeah. Truth. The other thing about Warrior Club is reporting back. I'm here. I want to go here. This is what I did. These are my results. And in sharing that, it can be really helpful. There might be other people that are having the same issue, or there might be somebody who had the same issue and they figured it out. And then they're sharing back that they figured it out and somebody's stuck. So that's the beauty of the community, sharing of knowledge. And again, beauty of building community. All right, so Warrior Club, I have a little breakdown of the weeks. At the start, some of you may have seen this. We tried to link the handout. It looks like this, 5 pillars of health. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it has 3 boxes at the top and then a whole lot of writing. And I know it takes a lot to read, so you can go ahead, if this is recorded for you, please print it out, pause the video, take a look at it, and then we can go over it. But I'm just going to run through the various weeks here. So we start out, obviously, like I said, with setting baselines. You're going to fill out a bunch of annoying questionnaires and like figure out where you're at with all of these things. What's your light exposure like? Because your light exposure is related to your circadian rhythm. It is the main driver of your circadian rhythm. So that's when you wake up in the morning, and when you wake up in the morning determines when you're going to fall asleep, because it's approximately those 16 hours before things start to fall off. Well, of course, unless you're grossly sleep deprived, then it's going to be a little sooner than that. And then, of course, yeah, Meg's back there like raising her hand. So your light exposure, like I said, affects your circadian rhythm, and your circadian rhythm affects your sleep, okay? And then how well you sleep is affected by your nutrition. Have you been eating a lot of Starbucks and Cheetos and Doritos and things like that? Or have you been eating good quality food that help you maintain a decent blood sugar level over the course of the night? Because I know from my own experience, if I haven't eaten well during the day, my sugar bottoms out throughout the night, and I will have multiple wake-ups where my body gives me a little jolt of adrenaline when my blood sugar drops so that I can get up and do something about it. And I will keep dropping and waking up, and I never could figure out, why was I waking up so much last night? Come to find out, my blood sugar's falling out at night. I get up, I eat something, go back to sleep, boom, I'm down for the rest of the night. So amazing, right? Mind blown. Yeah. So your sleep is related to your nutrition. Movement. Stillness is illness. It's in the handout. Read it. Okay. I'm just going to stop there. All right. And then community. Oops, I'm going too far. So community, again, this is a huge part of Warrior Club. Sharing the information that we find, saying, hey, I'm experiencing this thing. What about you? Yeah, I'm experiencing that same thing. What can we find out? What can we do about this? What does Sierra say? What does the literature say about this? And what's really interesting about this program is that we're using data collection devices that have only been recently approved by the FDA. And like these things, it seems like they've been around for a while, but there's really not very much medical literature out there about how to use the data that comes off of them. They've been so obsessed with like, well, is it validated as a device? Is it good, reliable data? Well, we're past that now. It's actually good. It's actually really good. And so we can start applying that data to our lives and making our lives better. And that's where the community comes in. And I've found some people that are, I know one guy who's a marathoner, and he is all about understanding heart rate variability. And heart rate variability has a lot to do with math and a lot of crazy math. And I'm just like, I'm amazed that you understand that. That's fantastic. So someone like that who loves the math, who lives by their heart rate variability, yeah, bring that in, share that. That's fantastic information. So what does class look like? What are we talking about here? Yeah, this sounds great, but what are we talking about as far as commitment goes? So we're talking about 2 hours of class per week. We start with about 30 minutes of movement, and this is applicable movement that you can use throughout your day, stuff that you can use to help, move your body even if you have your gear on. Just stuff to relieve your back, relieve your hips, neck and shoulders, those sorts of things. Little pocket practices. And then we do we'll get wiggles out. That's the whole point of doing movement first. Get the wiggles out. Then we do a 15-minute check-in. Everybody just say, hi, how you doing? That sort of thing. Whoever wants to share can share. Whoever doesn't, don't. Whatever. And then we'll do 30 minutes of didactics. So I'll bring in the stuff about sleep, about nutrition, about movement, about these different things, okay? And then we'll apply them based on your individual goal setting. So what did you take away from the lecture today? How do you think you can use that information to adjust small things in your life? I'm not talking about big things. I'm talking about small, measurable, achievable, time-limited goals, like SMART goals. And implementation is going to be at home. So we'll do a lot of talking and a lot of stuff in class, but it's going to be your job to try this out, adjust, and react to your own data when you're at home. All right, so Warrior Club. The motto is fighting for our lives because making these changes is hard. We have to fight culture. We sometimes have to battle with our families about turning the lights on or off, being quiet at certain hours of the day. Like, it is a fight to maintain our health. But if it's measurable, it's manageable because we can communicate it. All right, so now I'm going to open it up to questions. Questions. We're going to pause here for a moment and see if we have anything coming up. And then, Cassie, should I go to the next thing? And I don't know.
We do have some questions.
Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure if we still had the Jeopardy music that do 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 do.
On here. So the first question I'm going to throw up there is, what if it is improved quality of sleep from the previous nights? So I'm assuming, does that
improved quality, or are we talking about, is it, so it's like the same duration, but like one night's better than the other night? Is that, it sounds like?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that.
That is a great question. And I'm not sure that I can answer that other than to say, how do you feel? And experiment with it. So when you have that subjective better quality, take notice of when you start to feel tired. On a better quality day, do you last longer? Does better quality give you another hour, maybe another 2 hours versus a day where it was not so good? That's the answer that I would probably give there.
I like that one. Same person asked a different question. What about sun lamps?
Sun lamps. For waking up in the morning, I'm guessing, as a night shift person. Mm-hmm. Yes, fantastic idea. Yes, please use them. Ideally, what you're going to do as a night shift person is when you get up, within 15 minutes of getting up as a night shift person, please go outside. Please go outside. No sunglasses. Like, regular glasses are fine, as long as they're not tinted. But go outside and have your brain be aware of natural light, because natural light, even if there's clouds, even if there's, if the sun is starting to set, your brain is still going to register more light into your actual photon receptors than any source of artificial light can do. What you can do is you can take that initial exposure and then go back inside. So if it's a cloudy day, stay outside for like 15, 20 minutes. If it's still pretty sunny and clear, you can cut that down to 5, 10 minutes. You don't have to stare. Please don't stare directly into the sun. Like, we don't want to be burning retinas here. Like, we don't want to do any of that. But you do want to have actual sun exposure on your eyeballs. And we go into all of this stuff, but it makes a big difference whether the light is coming from the top down or the bottom up, because depending on which place in your eye the light hits, it actually affects your ability to wake up or go to sleep. So if it's mostly low level stuff, your body's going to start to move into relaxation. If you're getting mostly overhead light, that's going to be wake up. Okay, so if you could take your SAD lamp, for example, and instead of having it on the table going like this, if it could be from top down, it would be even better, because it's hitting that right spot in your eyeballs. So
is that why I get tired on boats?
Why you get tired on boats? Because the light is coming from the wrong direction? Yeah. Well, it could be that. It could be the rocking. It could be any number of things.
Perfect. And then one last question is, should you just go back to bed if you're hungry? You wake up hungry. I'm going to assume it came in during your glucose.
Ooh, interesting. Could you go to bed hungry? Go to bed completely, from start to finish, go to bed hungry? Or, because I'm hearing a couple of questions there that come up for me. So that would be, if you wake up hungry.
I think that's what it's in reference to.
Okay. You can try. My personal experience is it doesn't work. I will drift back off. My blood sugar will start to drift back down again. And then I will have another little jolt and I'll wake up. And it's not until I go eat something that I can actually go to sleep for an extended period of time.
Okay.
So if you wake up and you're hungry, it doesn't take very much. Eat half a banana, brush your teeth, go back to bed, and it usually works. So yeah, awesome. Give it a try.
That was my question, is what do I eat if it's the middle of the night and it's just a little bit? Mm-hmm. So, okay.
So what do you eat? You want to eat something that's rich in carbohydrates, low in fat. because fat is going to hang around in your stomach for a long time. Protein actually is going to hang around in your stomach for a long time as well. So something that's like a banana, if you can tolerate bananas.
So that's it, bananas. That's what I heard.
That's-
it must be a banana. Are there any other options?
Rice Krispies, how about that?
Rice Krispies.
You know, something
Is that why
that's
the guys always get up in the middle of the night and go to the kitchen and have a bowl of cereal?
Oh, there you
Is that
go.
the right call?
Well, then are they having it with milk or not?
No,
I
probably.
don't
They're
know.
boys. I don't know. Hopefully they're not having it with whiskey.
Oh, ooh, that would be super bad. Yeah. We could have a whole discussion about how alcohol changed your sleep architecture, but that's a discussion for another time.
Excellent. Excellent. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, right, all of this stuff fascinates me. And I know that there's these tiny little tips and tricks that we can pick up on. And if we just implement one or two of them, it can start a significant change. So, I hope everybody got something out of it. Can we talk a little, are there any other questions? I want to do that. And then I want to just,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
can we talk a little bit more specifically about the Warrior Club program? So what does it look like? You mentioned that there's week 1 and you're going to talk about this in week 3 and there's these different things, but is there a plan and what is that plan and who can participate?
Okay, so Warrior Club is a brand new concept. So those of you who are willing to join us at the beginning here, you're going to be my rock stars, okay? My brave
Guinea pigs. I heard guinea pigs. She said rock
Brave
stars.
guinea-
I said guinea pigs.
Okay, how about rockstar guinea pigs?
Okay.
We have a
Can
couple.
AI me, please, for that? Can
Yes.
somebody? Okay.
Yeah. Guinea pigs in SWAT gear
Oh, there you go.
Rock
Ooh,
stars.
guinea pigs and SWAT gear.
with
Like,
rockstar hair.
there you go. Oh my gosh, you guys are so creative.
There's the new logo.
All right, so we have a couple of options here. We can either do this as a virtual program. We can do this as an in-person program. I have not found that it is successful as a hybrid program. So it's either going to be 100% virtual or 100% in person. And I need to know from you guys, what do you want to do? Like, do you want a virtual program where, you don't have to worry about being at a certain place at a certain time? Or do you really want the camaraderie of working with your fellow officers and being able to have something to BS about, offline? And that's something that's not work, but it's still kind of work related. And maybe with the possibility, if we have some admin on board here who think this sounds awesome, to actually pay people to go through and learn how to do this stuff, like, we could do that too.
I can tell you that we do have some buy-in from at least one agency, if not more, to have officers participate on training time or on duty. So that's a possibility. So if agencies are looking for a wellness program that can be brought in, this program's at no cost.
Yeah, 100% volunteer work here, people.
So she's done all the work already. She's going to continue to do the work at no cost. The foundation is honored, and it's a privilege to be able to support it in that. And then there will be no cost to agencies to have their people come in. And with the buy-in from agencies, to have people on duty do it, like, I feel like that might be a good in. So if you guys have your agencies that are looking for wellness things, just maybe throw that at your chief or your sheriff. So, and then you mentioned a 6-week program. And each week is going to cover a different topic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to have that first week as the benchmark week so that we know where we're starting. So when we end, we have something to compare it to. And then we also has the ability, the program has the functionality built into it so that we can repeat this again and again, so that we can even come back to it and say, oh, I was here and now I want to be here. And so you could potentially have the possibility of moving forward in your progress every 6 weeks.
So building upon, so I can do it one time. It can be a one and done. I can learn all the things and implement it myself moving forward. Or I can do this program and then build upon it by participating again. If the program.
That's actually my ideal situation, because new people can come in at that baseline setting first week. And then people that have been in can share what they've learned from previous sessions and do it again and again and again. We'll just learn more and more and more.
Great. Well, I'm super excited about the program. Do we have a start date or a target time for this?
We do have a start date. I would like to focus this back around my sister and in honoring her somewhere in the June 9th region. So I think that would be a good way to bring some positive energy to a negative day.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a hard day for your family and for our department family. And I think the idea of getting this positive thing started in her honor and caring for our other officers and ensuring, working towards this not happening again is one of the best ways to honor your sister. And I think it's really beautiful to start it on the anniversaries. The anniversary can be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Do you have anything else you want to add about Warrior Program or Warrior Club?
Come join us.
Okay.
We'll have lots of fun.
I want to thank everybody who did sign in and participate.
Yes, thank you.
We've got Washington State Patrol on board. So if we were in a room in person, which is in person is the idea, right? Network, build, let's get together. Let's get together. There's a song. Now I'm going to date myself. Anyway, let's get together. Yeah. Okay. So
Brad is
Washington
like,
State Patrol. And then Vancouver Police Department is on board. We've got Seattle Police Department, Whatcom County Sheriff's Office,
Fantastic.
Marysville Police Department, and what's the last one?
It says Everett.
Oh, it says Everett.
Yes.
Oh, Everett. And Everett
Of course,
Police
she has
Department.
to give you guys a hard time, right?
Of course, yes. Well, yeah, you know who you are. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for signing on. We, on behalf of Sierra and the foundation, have a good night. Be safe. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will chat with you soon. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.